Elon Musk had a hands-on meeting for all of their higher-end employees that was leaked through Sawyer Merritt's account, who apparently had a source within this meeting. There's a lot of pretty interesting information baked into it, so I'm just going to be going through everything that was announced so that you guys are up to date. First off, he mentioned that Gigafactory Berlin is still on track to become operational for final approval next month. So that means Model Ys built in Germany. We don't know which batteries they're going to be using. I'm guessing it's 2170s, but the factory over there is very close to done. And when it comes to Giga Texas, they're actually planning on writing the word Tesla on the top of the building so that you can actually tell that it's Giga Texas even as you're flying over from a plane. I'm not sure if there's any plans on putting solar on the roof, but maybe if there was a way they could have solar and not put solar panels where the text would be for Tesla. I don't know, but basically Giga Texas will have a big Tesla logo on the top. He praised the team for full self-driving beta 10, which is still scheduled to launch next week, and then the public rollout with 10.1 will be 2 weeks after that date. So basically by the end of September, they're still anticipating full self-driving beta to be out for everyone who opts in. And the craziest bit of news on the full self-driving front was Elon is kind of toying around with the idea of not having a steering wheel or pedals on the 25K battery day vehicle that Tesla has still not determined a name on yet. During this tweet thread, Sawyer briefly referred to that model as the Model 2, even though we know that's not the official name. It's just a placeholder name that a lot of people have been using, but I think something got lost in translation here because the follow-up tweet was explaining that Tesla is not going to call it the Model 2. I don't know if that's a point that Elon Musk said himself during this call. Feels kind of weird that he would take this time during the company meeting to explain why an upcoming model will not be named a particular thing. I don't know what they're going to call it, but at this point it would probably be easier and much more simple if they just named it something that we could recurringly come back to instead of the 25K model or the Model Q or the Model 2 Tesla Compact. I don't know, just something simple so that we all know what we're talking about. But I do think that this car could fundamentally be very, very different depending on whether it has a steering wheel or not. I think that similar to Zoox, Tesla could design a vehicle very differently if they knew that it was completely autonomous and there was no steering wheel or pedals to interact with. In that case, it might make more sense to make a very aerodynamic vehicle where people are sitting in a different layout, and if it's just supposed to be hailing people from point A to point B, you probably won't even need a 15-inch center display. People can just go on their phones, and that would drop the price of the interior manufacturing quite a bit. And the other thing that blows my mind is just that if Tesla was able to manufacture robo-taxis that did not have steering wheels, why then would we sell them for 25K? I feel like at that point, this robo-taxi vehicle would be far more valuable to Tesla if they just turned them into robo-taxis that they owned and operated. By Tesla's logic, they'd be able to make $30,000 a year from those vehicles, and if their lifespan is like 8 to 10 years, you'd make way more money just turning that into a robo-taxi than you would selling that to customers. So fundamentally, I think a Model 2 that has a steering wheel would be much more similar to that of a Model 3. That would just be like a compact, really affordable, but fairly small Tesla. Whereas a dedicated robo-taxi vehicle, the interior could be designed totally different. Even the exterior, so that it's kind of omnidirectional. It can go either way. There's a whole bunch of different design approaches you can take to a vehicle without a steering wheel. But as Elon Musk also mentioned during this meeting, the Cybertruck production is delayed until late 2022. So we're not just talking next year. I think after hearing this report, if this ends up being true, that the Cybertruck probably won't even start delivering until 2023. If Elon right now in 2021 is saying late 2022 for production, keep in mind he's not saying deliveries late 2022. In that case, I think it should mean we don't even expect Cybertruck to deliver next year, which is a huge bummer. But what I'm trying to say is if the Cybertruck is delayed, likely because of 4680s ramping, I don't think this is a chip shortage problem, then also the Model 2 or the 25K Tesla, expect that to be delayed even further. So before all of you freak out and act like, oh my god, it's so crazy that there would be a vehicle without a steering wheel, relax, because he's probably talking about a car that's not going to come out for another 5, maybe 6 years. So by then, full self-driving software may be very, very different. Dojo will be operational, and the idea of robo-taxis will probably be a lot more clear on how far away they are and how good the software is capable of being. During this meeting, Elon also mentioned that they're planning on opening up the Supercharger Network fairly soon, and that they're going to start doing it in Europe first, obviously, because they won't need adapters there. Teslas and Superchargers and all third-party EVs, they're using the same connector, so it's going going to go through the Tesla app, and they think that they might be able to start that in Europe sometime next month. Elon's hoping Tesla can grow their deliveries by a factor of 10 at least, so we're not sure of the timeline he was giving on that, but basically he's anticipating Tesla will, of course, eventually get over 10 million vehicles delivered a year, but that's not really new because at Battery Day they were anticipating 20 million vehicles a year by 2030. So last bit of interesting Tesla news is that they do still plan on making some kind of robo van, which might be completely autonomous, but its main emphasis would be helping on people with disabilities who have a hard time getting into vehicles. But I also think the robo van would make a ton of sense for the Boring Company, which they're already using right now, but the biggest complaint about it is that it doesn't move enough people per hour. Whereas if you had an autonomous vehicle that could sit 12 to 15 people, and honestly, autonomous driving within the Boring Company system is probably 1,000,000% easier than in the real world, because you basically just gotta drive down a tunnel. There's not much other traffic or stop signs or stop lights or roundabouts to worry about. Basically, you just stay within the line and you know where to park and when to close the doors when everybody gets inside the vehicle. So one day we're gonna get a van from Tesla. It's just a matter of time. But by far the lack of steering wheel in the Model 2 and the Cybertruck delay are probably the highlights from this conference call. I'm sad that the Cybertruck is going to be delayed, but I want it to be right and I want them to hit the range numbers and the prices they promised. So I guess we just gotta be patient. But ultimately, my biggest fear is that Tesla would design a crazy, innovative robo-taxi vehicle that's all optimized for not requiring a driver, but then for full self-driving software to get delayed, or the government is too hesitant to allow robo-taxis to drive around on city streets. So basically, the whole design that they build for efficiency in manufacturing, you know, single-piece casting, structural pack, they design all of it to be autonomous, but then the government stops it from being able to roll out, so that means that we don't get to see that vehicle for a long time. I'm hoping Tesla can simultaneously design a vehicle that can work with a steering wheel and pedals, and it can still be sold to average consumers and people can buy it, obviously, because there's a lot of people out there, I think, that want to buy a Tesla that they can own outright for $25,000 that could also, at the last minute, be very quickly switched over to a robo-taxi, you know, autonomous vehicle. I hope there's a design they can find that kind of fits both those potential needs. Even if they got the price way down and it was completely autonomous and Tesla released a vehicle that was able to get the cost of transportation down to like 13 cents a mile, I still think that a lot of people are going to be hesitant to use a vehicle that's been used by so many others. You don't know what icky stuff is inside that car. You don't know who's maintaining it or how good they're cleaning it every single time someone who's kind of messy takes a ride in that vehicle. Basically, there's still a reason a lot of people own vehicles, even in places with decent public transportation. I think people have a lot of pride and a lot of preference in driving something that they know is theirs and they can customize and they can treat it exactly how they like, and they know there's not other people messing around inside of it. You know, if all that really mattered with cost of transportation was like how much does the vehicle cost, then we would never see higher price or performance vehicles or luxury vehicles ever sell, but that's still a huge piece of the market. So I'd love to hear what you guys think of this conference call or not having a steering wheel on a future Tesla. Thank you all for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.